Warren Buffett said something that I thought was interesting. At 95 years old and stepping back from Berkshire Hathaway, he wrote, I'm happy to say I feel better about the second half of my life than the first. The greatest investor of all time, one of the most successful people in the world. And he said, life got better after 50 years old. If you're Gen X and feeling behind, that's not just encouraging, it's permission. But here's the thing. Warren Buffett is a billionaire. His advice needs translation. Today, I want to show you exactly how to use his wisdom, not just admire it. Here's 3 things that Warren Buffett gets right. Number 1, it's never too late. He said, don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. Learn at least one thing from it and move on. It's never too late to improve. And that's the whole tortoise philosophy. You don't need a time machine, you need direction. And if you have been with me since episode 1, you know my story. Divorced at 52, rebuilding from scratch, and I needed to hear it's not too late more than anyone. Buffett proves that it's true. Number 2, the obituary test. Buffett tells the story of Alfred Nobel, the guy who invented dynamite, read his obituary by accident. A newspaper printed it early, and he was horrified. He was going to be remembered as a merchant of death. So he changed, and he created the Nobel Prize, completely redirected his legacy. Buffett's advice: decide what you would like your obituary to say and live it. And that's the direction part of the tortoise formula. You can't get where you're going if you don't know where that is. Number 3, kindness compounds. Buffett wrote that greatness doesn't come about by accumulating a lot of money. When you help someone in many thousands of ways, you help the world. Kindness is costless, but also priceless. Kindness compounds just like interest. That's not weak advice. That's a 95-year-old billionaire telling you what matters the most. Okay, now, so we know Buffett advice is solid, but how do we translate that for those of us who are not billionaires? Buffett says it's never too late. True, but he's been wealthy since his 30s. He's never had to choose between his children's braces and contributing to his 401k. Buffett says, decide your legacy. True, but most of us have never written it down. Buffett says, kindness compounds. True, but you can't give freely if giving makes you panic. Here's the bridge. Do you remember the peace index I mentioned in episode 2? One of the 7 areas is generosity. Can you give without anxiety? If your peace index score for generosity is low, Buffett's kindness compounds may sound good, but it feels impossible. Fix the peace index first, and kindness will flow. That's how billionaire advice works for regular people. You build the foundation, then you build the legacy. Buffett gave you the obituary test. Now let's make it practical. This week, I want you to write your 3-sentence obituary. That's your homework for the week. Just one thing. So do this not someday, this week. Write it down or put it in your phone, but just do it. Sentence number 1. What do you want it to say about your character? Number 2, what do you want it to say about your relationships? And number 3, what do you want it to say about your impact? Now, here's the hard part. And there's a connection between what you spent last month and your obituary. What did you spend last month versus what you want your obituary to say? Is there a gap between the two? That's what you need to work on. Does what you spent last month move you toward your obituary or away from it? That's the alignment decision from the peace index. And that's where Buffett's wisdom becomes your wisdom. Again, if there's a gap between your obituary and your spending, close the gap. That's your assignment. Here's where we land. Buffett at 95 says that the second half was better than the first. And I agree with him. But you don't get there by accident. You get there by knowing your direction, staying disciplined, and cutting distractions. You get there by building peace, not just your portfolio. And you get there by asking the hard questions. Does my spending match my obituary? Do your homework this week. Just 3 sentences. And in the comment section, just say did it if you completed the homework assignment. Next week, we'll be talking about the psychology of money. Morgan Housel talks that behavior beats math, and he's right. But here's my question. If behavior matters, why don't we have a way to measure it? That's episode 6, coming to you Thursday, which is when I post regularly. Thanks for watching, and remember, you're not broke, you're just exhausted. There is a difference. I'm Arlie Van, and see you next time.